Wendy Williams does not want to begin a podcast and is focused on moving to Laugh for a TV comeback, according to friends. On his popular podcast, Naughty But Nice presenter Rob Shooter and entertainment writer Delana Dixon detailed their March 17 encounter with Wendy Williams. 58. We ran into Wendy a little more than a week ago and asked her about the podcast, and you were there, Rob said to Delana, aka Miss D, on their episode, which aired Tuesday morning. She said it's done, and she's going to lie in 3 weeks, Rob said, adding, she said it's over, and she's going to lie in 3 weeks. She informed us she was going to start a new TV show and didn't want to do podcasting. He said of their meeting. Wendy's publicist issued a statement earlier this week denying that Wendy's program had been discontinued. During the conversation with Miss D, Rob deconstructed the assertion. Just because a PR says something doesn't mean it's true. I'm not claiming that the PR is lying, but the publicist should have a conversation with Wendy because she's out and about in New York, talking to people, as she should. She's an adult, but make sure you're on the same page. Because it doesn't make sense if the client tells everyone she's not doing the podcast and the PR tells everyone she is, Rob continued. Rob also pointed out that Wendy's spokesperson specifically stated that the podcast was not officially canceled. Rob, who used to be a PR for celebrities like Jessica Simpson and Jennifer Lopez, added, as a former publicist, I had a look at it and saw that there had been no official cancellation of the podcast. Indeed, it is correct. We make a living as podcasters, Miss D, and we're really excellent at it. And so, Miss D, when we were having drinks with Wendy, I asked her, would you like me to introduce you to our podcast folks, the individuals with whom we work? And Wendy said, and Miss D was there, no, Rob, no, I'm not doing a podcast. She is undoubtedly attempting to relocate to Los Angeles. She wants to be there within the next 2 to 3 weeks, and she wants to return to television. That was where she felt at ease. Of course, I suggested that we'd love to see her on a reality show just to see how she's putting her life back together as a single lady. What her next projects will be, Miss D continued, but we'll see what happens if she does one. Wendy shrugged and offered her Wendy smile when she heard about the reality program, according to Miss D. Rob went on to say, that's exactly what she wants to accomplish. She wishes to return to the Wendy show. It's quite simple to record a podcast, and there's no one better, so I'm not stopping her. I'd pay attention. Wendy talking about celebs for 20 minutes a day would be perfect for me. Count me in. But she doesn't want to do it, Rob continued. It would have happened if she had wanted to. Meanwhile, a source close to Wendy, who spoke with her within the previous 24 hours, exclusively told The Sun she isn't doing the podcast. It's heartbreaking. I feel awful for her, but she ruined her entire career. She might be on TV right now. Wendy, as the New York Times revealed this week, has informed numerous people in her sphere that her podcast isn't happening. Where can I find the podcast? Wendy recently informed pals there is no podcast, according to a source close to the former TV anchor who previously exclusively told The Sun. It's weird since she says there will be no podcast but also says she will return to TV. It's difficult to determine what is based on reality, the insider continued. Wendy herself last spoke publicly on the project in November 2022 during a WBLS event. She informed the crowd that the Wendy Experience podcast will be available in the coming weeks. Wendy, who spent 2 months in a Malibu rehab after being admitted for reported acute alcoholism, was out drinking and bar hopping in New York City on St. Patrick's Day. Wendy's outing. Wendy was drinking Cosmos with a group she met earlier that evening, according to one source who spoke exclusively to The Sun. Wendy was totally alone with the exception of her chauffeur and bodyguard, according to an eyewitness, when she arrived at Fresco by Scotto. She was staring out into the horizon when someone she knew walked in. Later that night, the gang went to the homosexual pub Townhouse. When the bartender inquired what she wanted to drink, she simply responded, anything to get me drunk, the bystander continued. Wendy's rep told The Sun at the time, Wendy was celebrating her future new chances. She wanted to rejoice because things were happening that made her feel like she had a new lease on life. She was relishing the fact that she has multiple projects in the works. Wendy adores her fans and wholeheartedly supports the LGBTQ community, which is a sizable portion of her fan base, the statement said.